Hey there, Kevin here with another episode of the Feel Good English podcast. How you doing out there? Having a good day? I hope so. And if not, why don't you just stop, take a deep breath, and pay attention to this moment. Everything is going to be okay. So today I have an awesome episode with an interview from Adir Ferreira, the superstar Brazilian English teacher. In this episode, I'm going to talk about Adir's intro into the world of English teaching, which he's been doing for 24 years. Also going to talk about why Adir's original blog posts were angry. What was he angry at when he started writing about English online? Adir's going to talk about what he thinks most English learners lack, meaning what they don't do correctly, what they don't have. And there's a simple solution to that. And we're also going to talk about a breakthrough book that really inspired Adir's life. And it's actually about how talent is overrated. And to become excellent at certain things in life, and Adir is excellent at several things in life, it takes a lot more than just talent. Anybody can become excellent if they have the right mindset, if they think about it correctly. And as usual, at the end of the episode, I will talk a little bit about what Adir has had problems with in his own life, what he has struggled with through business and life. Everybody has difficulties in their life, even people that you see online. If you want a free transcript to this interview, you can go to my website, www.feelgoodenglish.com, and I will post a free transcript there. All you have to do is give me your email address, and I will send you the transcript to your email. That's a no-brainer, meaning you don't even have to think about that one. That's an easy decision to make. So let's get into my interview with Adir Ferreira from englishpodcast.com.br for Brazil. So hey guys, here I am with Adir Ferreira from englishpodcast.com. Welcome to the Feel Good English podcast, Adir.
Thanks for having me.
So let's just to get started, and people that might not know who you are and why I'm interviewing you, can you give us a little bit of background on who you are and what you do?
All right. I have been an English teacher for 24 years. Can you believe that? 24 years.
Wow.
I started out when I was 17 in 1992, so you guys do the math. And I worked in language schools, public schools, private schools. I did voluntary work. I covered the major aspects of language teaching. And I stopped teaching 5 years ago when I started doing some work online.
And so tell me about that. What brought you online? Why did you decide to change how you teach?
Well, actually, it was an ego trip. I wanted to have a blog. I had no idea how technology worked, but I did want to have a blog. So I bought a domain and I put WordPress in it, and I started blogging and writing with no technological knowledge whatsoever. My earlier posts are so ugly. They're so angry. Yeah. But then as time went by, I started honing my skills in blogging and writing and copywriting too, with and also video, audio recording. And in 2011, I was hired by an American company to work online for them full time. So they took me out of the classroom and put me into my office. And that was the start of this online journey for me.
Oh, well, let me stop you real quick too. And I heard you say something about your original blog posts were angry. What do you mean by that? Angry? What were you angry at? Angry at English? Angry at what? Where did this anger come from, do you think?
Okay. I learned English the old way. In the 90s, we didn't have this many resources as we do right now. So it was very hard for me. It was very hard because I didn't have access to real English, to real conversational English, to meeting native speakers. So it was a rare commodity when I spoke to an American guy or to a British person. And nowadays, people have everything. So they just won't learn if they don't want to. But then I gave tips on how to make the best of your English books, of your videos and stuff. And at the back of my head, I thought, how on earth are you not fluent yet with this many resources that we have nowadays? So that's, I think, the reason, because I was so angry at the time. But then I calmed down, and now I'm more relaxed and chill and everything.
All right. So kind of, it sounds like you were kind of frustrated with that. You had to learn in a time where you probably had a little book and that was it. And nowadays people have access to absolutely every resource they could possibly need to become an excellent English speaker. Does that sound about right?
Exactly. Yeah. And what I think people lack is organization. With organization. And I don't agree that we need motivation. So if we really need to do something, we need to dredge up this motivation from somewhere. So we just need to plan and do. Plan and do. That's simple to say. But then if you don't start, you will never be able to know where you're going to get if you don't start doing things.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. Sometimes people get so frustrated because there are so many options online. What do I read? What do I listen to? Which course is the best?
Oh, yeah, exactly. So I think that there's not a right method for everybody. There's a right method for you, for me, for my neighbor, all right? So we need to try and do things that work for us. We need to do it every single day. And slowly, we can't just study all Saturday afternoon and then we don't do that during the week, because it's not going to work. Learning is an active process. We need to be in contact with the language, with the skills that we need to master in order to be fluent in a language, or in any other skills that you were trying to learn, like singing, like painting. Like, it takes hard work. And that's what people can't seem to wrap their heads around nowadays.
This is a great time to segue into a book that you're going to talk about today. Can you tell us the book that you're going to talk about today that has really impacted your life?
Yeah, it's called The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle. And it was like a breakthrough book for me. And I'm going to explain why. Because you always hear people say, okay, you are so talented. You were so talented. Oh, you speak several languages. And I'm also a pro singer. You didn't know that, did you?
Oh, professional singer, huh?
Oh, and then I surprised you. I sing professionally. Here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you going to give us a sample of that?
Maybe some other day. Not today. I need to warm up first. To warm up first. Okay. So the talent code says that if you were talented, like, okay, let's take Beyonce, for example. She puts in hours and hours of work in vocal training, in physical training, in dancing lessons, in singing lessons, in public appearances, and keeping her shape and everything else. And that's what people don't see. Okay, so you were born with a gift, right? You have a good voice. But then if you don't study and if you don't nurture this gift, this so-called talent, it's going to go to waste. Okay, it's about English. For example, I find it easy to learn languages. It's my thing, So, but if I stop reading and learning and listening and doing the things that I have to do to keep these skills up today, I'm going to lose them. Okay. So if you take your learning for granted, for example, I am very good at this. I'm not going to study for this. You are wasting a precious opportunity, because you need to sit down and to study every single day. Whatever it is you're studying, you need to keep it up. You can't just, okay, I'm going to do this in August, in a couple of months. No, maybe next year, but I'm already good at it. Okay, so in this book, the author says that deliberate practice is the one that you practice and you are paying attention to it. For example, you are doing a listening exercise. You are not just listening to the radio as a second piece of information. You were listening attentively and closely to it. So you are trying to learn something from it. It's like learning with series, with series or movies or music or anything like that. You need to focus. If you were just watching it for fun, okay, that's no problem with that either. But if you tell me that you're learning with movies, but you were just watching the movie, you were not learning. For example, if you watch movies, if you're learning with movies, you can't assume that you're gonna be sitting down for only 1.5 hours to 2 hours studying. It takes a long time. You'll need to stop. You'll need to do your research. You'll need to write down words that you don't understand yet. There's also the cultural aspect of learning, because there may be references that I don't understand and I need to look it up. So we just can take for granted. For example, I studied French or German or Spanish or English with 3 to 5 minute videos. And that gives me like 30 minutes of studying.
Sure. So you're studying really deeply. So you're going deeply into the words, and you're basically getting as much value from the content as possible.
Exactly. I don't coast my way through it. I like to go deep and learn things for real. Oh, I understand. No, I still don't understand this. Let me rewind that. It's how I do it. It's like singing, for example, if you're learning a new song, you need to break it down. You need to break it down into very small pieces and study every aspect of it. For example, the intonation, the rhythm, the message this song wants to put forth, so that you really learn how to sing it. So, for example, if you were studying with the dialogue, okay, your English textbook dialogue. Oh, okay, I understand this. No, you don't. Study it again, revisit it.
Sure.
Revisiting things is a very, very interesting way to retain information, and deliberate practice. You need to know why you're studying, the purpose of this studying session. So that's the main idea of the book, and I love the book. I've read it twice already, and it always brings new light into my own learning. I consider myself a good learner, a good language learner in general, but I still have to be very aware of how I'm learning so that I don't make the mistakes I did in the past. So if I made a mistake, I go and I correct it once. If I make a mistake again, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. I need to see what's happening over there.
And it seems, what I really like your point, just because you really enjoy learning languages doesn't mean it's easy for you. It almost makes it even more difficult because you are a perfectionist with language. So you really need to know the correct methods to study. And people that maybe don't like it so much, don't like studying as much, or think they aren't good with language learning, can just take these tips and focus on the methods and the strategies of how you can learn. And by going deeply and following somebody like you who studies the actual process of learning, can show methods that work, and to also, minimize learning time and to make it more effective. If for those people out here that might be interested in what this book, The Talent Code, talks about, what would you say, what's the biggest benefit of reading this book, and how could somebody benefit from reading The Talent Code?
Well, it actually brings the neurological part of learning. There's a substance that our brain produces that helps us learn. And with everything new that we learn, we make new connections in our brains. And that is very, very interesting to happen because we start getting out of our comfort zone. So also getting out of your comfort zone is very important because if you do the same things that you do every day, you'll have the same results every single day. It's not different.
Sure.
The main word, the main phrase here, is hard work, specifically focused on the results that you want to get. Okay, for example, if I want to speak good English, I'm gonna study with a good teacher, with a good approach, and most importantly, consistently. So we need to do things consistently. But it's the perfect book. I think I'll start reading again tonight.
You know what, Jer, I'm gonna read it very soon too, because this is something that I struggle with. Hard work and focus. If I'm focused on something, I am able to work hard at it. The problem with me is often I get sidetracked, I get distracted, or I try to move on to something else too soon. Maybe out of boredom, maybe out of fear that I'm not doing the right thing. For whatever reason, lack of patience, I lose focus on what I'm working hard at. And I think it's a common problem. Talking about struggling with things, I asked the people I interview on the show just to give us a little insight about your life and maybe talk about something that you're struggling with at this point. We all have things that we find difficult, and we often don't share this with people. We like to share things that are going well. But sharing something that's not been too easy for you lately through business or life or whatever, is there something that comes to mind that you're struggling with at the moment?
Oh, you didn't say that you're going to ask me that.
Yeah, this is the curveball question.
Oh my God. Let me think about it. Well, I struggle every single day with keeping my tasks up to date. Okay, for example, I need to do a YouTube video and a blog post and a lesson for my course, and then a friend calls me and wants to have coffee with me, and then I leave the house, my office is home office, and then I come back and I'm hungry, then I go to eat, and then the day's gone. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that is something that I struggle with. I've gotten so better at this. You have no idea. I was a mess, But then I think it's my biggest struggle. And then I think that with the tech stuff, that I still don't master, like I'm getting better at editing videos now, or I crush it at editing audio. I'm very good at that. Okay, but then I had to learn about it. I had to learn about it through sweat and blood. Because I knew. I was a classroom teacher. I was a classroom teacher, so I had to rewire my brain into thinking that I could, and I was able to do things that are technologically challenging, so to speak. And then so sometimes I see, how do those people do that? Oh my God, that seems so difficult. And it's not. Sure. It's just a click away. So I struggled with that. Yeah, with keeping my tasks done, getting them done, and then being more bold with the tech stuff.
Sure. Right. And it's going back to the book. And I think this is why this book seems so valuable. Like you said, it's almost like we need to be aware, self-awareness, knowing yourself, being able to see where you're struggling, then making a plan to improve in that area, focusing on that. And then, like you said, putting in the hard work, and takes time. And eventually our brains will work with us and it'll help us, and it'll actually change the brain chemistry to make these things easier. So the Talent Code, go read that book out there if you guys haven't read it. It seems awesome. Ajir, thanks for sharing that book. So before I leave you, why don't you tell people listening to this, where can they find you? Where can they find more information about you? Where can they find your English lessons and things that you do online? Okay, I'm at ajirferreira.com.br. There's a BR at the end because it's from Brazil. And I'm also on YouTube, Ajir Ferreira. You can find me there. I'm on Snapchat. It's Ajir Snap. And then I'll do my little broadcast there. I've been having so much fun doing those. I'm also on Periscope, Ajir Ferreira, on Twitter, Ajir Ferreira, and there's a lot of Ajir Ferreiras around, so you can find me anywhere. Everywhere. Just type in Ajir Ferreira. Just yell out Ajir Ferreira into the air, and something will probably fall into your lap, right? Exactly. Well, thanks again, Ajir, for being here, and such a valuable lesson. I thank you for sharing that with myself and my audience, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you. That was my pleasure. So great book, The Talent Code. I'm going to read it. I would recommend you read it as well, giving you strategies and insights on how to become great at something. Talent is not enough. Some people are born with talent. Some people create their talent. We can all become great at things if we just put in the hard work. And finding the best, most fun ways to do this will make that easier. So again, I want to thank Ajir for being here and giving us insights on learning not only languages, but life skills. He is obviously a superstar learner, English teacher, and as we now know, a professional singer. Thanks again, Ajir. Again, if you want the transcripts to this episode, go to feelgoodenglish.com. You can download the transcript. If you have any questions, send them to kevin@feelgoodenglish.com. I am here to help. Until next time, hope you're trying to become the best version of yourself. Reading books and listening to other inspiring people can help you do that. Let's all become superstars through English learning. Until next time, see ya.